GoPro. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Her Two Wheels. If you're new here, my name is Jess and I make motorcycle related content every single week. So if you follow any of my other two girls up here, my other two moto girls, Doodle on a motorcycle or As the Magpie Flies, honestly you should be following both of them. What are you even doing? They both have been talking about why they started riding. So Doodle asked Magpie, why did you start riding? Magpie made this video right here. And then Doodle gave me this comment right here asking me why I started riding. And I said, this is a fantastic topic. I know I've mentioned it in a few previous videos, but I never gave you guys like the full story. So
the year was 2015.
Yeah, I can't, my voice doesn't go that deep. Anyway, back in 2015, I was a newlywed. I had my own house, a wonderful dog, a wonderful husband, literally had want for nothing. I had a great life and I still have a great life. So my sister-in-law at the time, she had purchased a motorcycle, like out of the blue. To me, I fell out of the blue. And she was like, let's learn how to ride. And I was like, you already have a bike. Like, I'm not going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. I don't care about that. And she's like, come on, I'm taking the MSF course. Like, you can do it with me. I don't want to do it by myself. Please take the class with me. I'm like, all right, well, what do I need to do? She's like, you just have to have your learner's permit and $50. And I said, all right. So I went and got my permit, and you guys, I was sweating bullets on that test. You know, the permit test, at least in Ohio, it was like a 40-question test. And you're only allowed to, like, miss 10 questions or whatever. And so I was on the 10th question. Like, oh, boy. You know, like, I'm not a very spiritual person, but if I fail this test, it's probably for a reason. You shouldn't ride. So, spoiler alert, I passed. And really started thinking of, what am I doing? Am I just going to learn how to ride a motorcycle, or do I actually want to own a motorcycle? I was like, no, I just want to learn. It's cool. So I got my learner's permit in June, and I don't even think my test was scheduled until the end of July. So I had a lot of time to just really stew on the idea of being a motorcyclist. And for many people, myself included, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, hell yeah, I want to be a motorcyclist. How cool would that be? You know, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anyone I knew that rode. So I was like, I'm going to be like this one person that my friends are going to know that rides. And I thought that was so cool. And so long story short, I decided to buy a bike. Before I even knew how to ride one, I decided I wanted to buy one. So I got on good old Craigslist and started researching. Just like, I really liked the styling of the Honda Shadows. You know, they were cruisers. I knew I wasn't a sport bike girl, so I wanted a cruiser, and I found this perfect, I think the caption, like the headline even said, great beginner bike. And I was like, oh, that's me. I need a beginner bike. So I contacted this lady who lived about 45 minutes away, and I found out that she was actually selling the bike on behalf of her daughter, who was also named Jessica and also 26 years old. Like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. So come to find out, her daughter was in the military and was unable to ride the bike, so they decided to sell it. It was in great condition. The tires were a little dry rot, but other than that, it was a beautiful, perfect stock bike with low miles. I picked her up for $2,200, and I had my sister-in-law's then significant other ride the bike home for me in the pouring rain. Like, I felt so bad for him. So all of a sudden, I had a motorcycle in my garage. I didn't know what to do with it. I loved just looking at her. I didn't even sit on her because I was afraid I was going to drop her or something. So I started doing my research, and I started watching a ton of YouTube videos on how to ride. Because I've driven manual transmission cars since I've been able to drive, so understanding the transmission and stuff like that wasn't an issue for me. It was understanding okay, so in a car, you know, my shifter is my right hand and my clutch is my left foot. What is it on a motorcycle? So on a motorcycle, your clutch is your left hand, your shifter is your left foot, and like you got your brake. I don't know, it was just so weird to me. So I had to really practice with that when I first got my motorcycle, and I feel like I did so good. I took my shadow out, and I think I got up into third gear like the very first time I took her out, but I wasn't being stupid. Like I knew about the clutch and I knew about braking and stuff like that. I could only go in a straight line. Like turning it around was out of the question. That was embarrassing. So lo and behold, it comes time to take the class. I did really good in the like classroom section of the class. It was a little tricky because I get anxiety in school. Like I didn't do well in school. I got like C's and D's and F's my whole life, you guys. That's why I went to art school. I haven't taken a math class since I was like 18, okay? Like don't ask me to do long division. But anyway, so you take 1 day of classroom work and then 2 days of writing courses. So the first day on the writing course was so much fun. It was so hot though. I remember dying in that full face helmet. But it was so much fun, and my instructor was even like, wow, you're doing really well. How long have you been riding? And as I'm like putting past him, I was like, this is my first time. He just looked at me like, okay, are you sure? I was like, yeah, this is my first time. I've never been on a motorcycle before. So the first day was so fun. I went home that night. I had dinner with my husband. I had so much fun telling him about it and all the things I learned and blah, blah, blah. Second day comes around, and you know, it's getting a little more intense. You're doing a little more weaving, a little more tight cornering, U-turn, stuff like that. And I was determined. I was determined to do well. So I really buckled down. It took me a couple times, but I got the U-turn, and so went through the second class. Easy peasy. Well, stupid me, for some reason, did not realize that there was a test at the end of the second day. I thought the whole class was the test. You know, I thought they just kind of grade you based off of like yourself as a person, like how you did over those 3 days. Nope. There was a test, and I like instantly got test anxiety. I felt the blood rush from my face. I was so scared. I was physically shaking. I was so scared, and I just lost all control. I didn't drop the bike or anything, but I failed that test. I had so many points taken off for putting my feet down or not going fast enough or braking too soon, and it was terrible. I was so disappointed in myself. So after the test, I called my husband, and I was like, I failed. And he was so sad for me, and I just went home and I cried. I cried all day. I was like, what am I going to do? I have a motorcycle in my garage that I can't even ride, that I bought on an impulse. Like, I'm such a failure. Like, it was a total pity party for a solid 6 hours. While I was in my bedroom crying myself to sleep, my husband had been outside all day drilling the baffles out of my exhaust pipes on the Shadow to make it a little louder. So he comes back inside and he's like, hey, I know you're having a bad day, but I finished your bike. Do you want to come listen to it? And I was like, no, f*** that bike. I don't want anything to do with it. I can't ride. You know, like so upset. He's like, come on, like, I just spent all day working on this for you. The least you can do is come listen to it. And I was like, fine, I'll come listen to it. So we get out into the garage, and he starts the bike up, and it, you know, it sounds like like it sounds good, but I'm just standing there like a little kid. I'm literally like, I don't care. I was so mad at that stupid bike. So I was just staring at it, and I was mad, but it sounded good. So I was like, you know what? If this is it. This is the moment right now. If you do not go and get on this bike, you will never ride again. And I know myself, and I know that was true. So I begrudgingly walked back inside, put my gear on, came back out, got on the bike, and like hobbled it out of the driveway. It was such an awkward scene. I'm so glad no one was there with me, because I mean, you want to talk about like a new baby gazelle. Like, that's what I looked like trying to get out of that driveway on the motorcycle. I literally drove up the road, awkwardly turned it around, and drove right back and up into my garage, and that was it. And that was it. That's all it took. As soon as I put it back in the garage, I said, all right, you can do this. You just need practice. Just because you failed a test doesn't mean you can't ride a motorcycle. That just means you failed that test. So that's what I did. Every single day I got off work, I'd come home, I'd get geared up, I'd hop on the bike, and I would just go for a half a mile, and then the next day I would go a full mile, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and I literally practiced every single day if the weather was good. Until finally, after a month of practicing, I got up the courage and I called the BMV, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, and I scheduled a test. So I went down to the BMV and I took the test there. Failed that one too. I thought it was going to be exactly the same. Nope, the test at the BMV was different. Same principles, different actual, physical testing. So, yeah, your homegirl, her two wheels failed not one, but two riding tests. And I call that just poor planning on my part. So after I figured out what I was actually supposed to be studying physically on that test, I practiced that. It was swerving in and out of cones, fine. It was accelerating at a 90-degree angle, that was tricky. And then doing a U-turn, and then doing a quick stop. Totally fine. So after I actually practiced, I passed with flying colors, didn't miss anything the next time I took it. So I became legally licensed, finally. So after the first year of riding the Shadow, we decided we wanted to bob it. So we spent that winter cutting the bike in half. You can check out some of these photos here. But then into my third season of riding, I realized, all right, the bobber's cool. She can't really go very fast on the highway, and I can't put anything on it. I got to wear a book bag every time I want to go anywhere. So that's when I was like, I think I need to start thinking about a bigger bike. And at the time, my father-in-law had just gotten this 2010 Sportster. It's like a low, I think it was. It's a 1200cc motorcycle, and he let me borrow it. So we traded bikes for the season. He got the bobber, and I got the sporty. After riding the sporty for a solid season, I think I rode that bike from May until September, maybe even October. I rode it an entire season. I decided, all right, I think it's time. I need to start looking for another bike. I put the bobber up for sale, sold the bobber, used that money to be a down payment on my Dyna, and purchased my Dyna in February 2018. She did not look like this when I first bought her. And it's been history ever since. So, no, I didn't start riding because I rode on the back of my husband's bike for years. I've mentioned it in previous videos. My husband didn't even ride when I wanted to learn. None of us had motorcycles. None of us were interested. And then, after I got my bike, a year later, he decided, she's having a lot of fun. Maybe I want to do this too. So then my hubby you can check it out here. It's a 1200 sporty, an XR 1200. I think it was a 2009 or 2010 model. It was a cool bike. He traded that in, and he now has a 2017 Street Bob. But yeah, that's it. That's my story of how I started riding. It was kind of on an impulse, and I haven't looked back. It's changed my life. If I had to say anything, if this is something you really want to do or you want to learn, please do it. And surround yourself with people that'll encourage you, because this is a very scary hobby. Like any good motorcyclist says, ride at your own pace. Surround yourself with people that'll respect you and ride with you at your own pace. And just have fun. This is so fun. If you want to be a weekend warrior, that's cool. If you want to ride just doing poker runs and bar to bar, that's fine. Do whatever you enjoy. This is my favorite. I love riding by myself and just enjoying the scenery. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said earlier, go check out Doodle on a Motorcycle and As the Magpie Flies. great ladies, both we all three have completely different riding styles, and I just love them for it. If you're new here, I really hope you like this video enough to potentially subscribe to my channel. And if you are subscribed, please remember to ring that little bell notification. It really, really helps in the YouTube algorithm. And I'm so excited to grow this community. I'm so excited to spend more time with you guys and do more events in the real world. Like I said in the beginning, my name is Jess, aka Her Two Wheels, and I make motorcycle related content every single week. Until next time, I will see you later.